There's a delay, so we've got to. And we're on.
We're on.
Yeah. Good evening, Commissioner Molinga. Good evening. Happy Thursday. So, yeah.
Welcome. Yeah, we are.
Welcome to Thursday edition of the Faika podcast. We have Pastor Laki Siaki with Win the City, Las Vegas, Nevada. George, Ismail, happy Thursday and congratulations to you and your family. George's son is going to the NFL. He got drafted. So congratulations to the Ismail family. We're just
big draft. Big draft for Polynesians.
Big draft. The most Polynesians ever got drafted this year. So it's awesome. Good to see, and just proud of all the PI kids that got drafted into the NFL. So awesome. We're just waiting for Pastor to come on. Good morning, Ramona, George, happy Thursday, and Fafatai Molealofa. Right. So congratulations to you and your family, and to all the kids, Tangaloa family. Their son got drafted. Well, actually, is going to Nebraska. So he got, what is it? Not drafted. Nebraska. Do they have a football team? College. There you go.
Oh, he got a scholarship to the University of Nebraska.
He got a scholarship. Yeah,
Big time college. So, Cornhuskers.
Right, and then Tangavailoa is gone. I mean, just a lot of kids got drafted and have gone to good teams. So it's going to be a good season if we actually get to it. So keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah, I heard the 2020 schedule is coming out like this week or next week, but it's gonna get published.
Oh,
which is a good thing, because that means we're going to have a season.
We're going to have a season with or without people in the seats.
Yeah, those 50,000 seat stadiums may turn into 10,000 seat stadiums if they, social distancing within the stadium. But the important thing is, hey, they're going to play football. We need to get back to somewhat normal.
Yeah, we need to get back to the football season, which is, everyone's waiting for the football season because they just jacked my basketball season. And so, it was good because my Warriors were they were on hiatus way before
the hiatus started. The Warriors were doing horrible. So it was a good time to just say, let's cut the season and we'll start again next year.
We'll take a break. So good thing we're taking a break. We're going to come back stronger. So
I think they broke any Warriors' hearts when they cut the rest of the season. I don't think anybody from the Warrior Nation was like, oh no, let's keep playing. Except for the players. I bet the players miss playing. Oh, look who we got. With a cool logo. Look at that. Oh, and I gotta unmute. There we go.
Hey.
Pastor, are you there?
I hope so.
There he is.
Come on.
What's going on? What does that shirt say? Let me see that shirt.
The shirt says cover.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. I misread that. When I first saw that, I thought, is he wearing a COVID-19 shirt? But
yeah, we took that thing and flipped it, man. Yeah. So got that little COVID little particles in there and all that kind of stuff. And so it's pretty cool. Pretty
nice.
Cool.
Are those Las Vegas thing, or where do you get one of those if you want one?
Yeah, we actually printed them up, man. I got so many ideas with these things, man. And so we actually print them up here. And so we took orders, and then right when we took orders, we realized we were in a pandemic and people weren't shipping out as fast as we wanted to. Yeah. So right now, man, this is like a one of one right now, so yeah.
Collector's edition.
Yeah. Collectors. That's it. So, yep. But everybody that inquired, we have their name down, and I'm just going to go ahead and take care of it and send them one for no cost, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I'll definitely send one your way, man.
Well, we're waiting for Naki got dumped off of Zoom. I think everybody's used to that, right?
Yeah.
We're all used to, can you hear me? Or getting frozen on a Zoom call or a Microsoft
Right.
Teams call. Just part of
Yeah.
life now.
Yeah. That's gonna be it's gonna be cool.
So you and I just chat it up and see if she gets back on or not. If not, we'll um, go ahead and ask you the questions. I'm sure that some of the ones that Naki would have, but she's got her own flavor for
Yeah.
asking questions.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
What's
That's gonna
that
be
salt shaker I see behind you? The image I see.
Yeah, so that's the Matthew 5. So that's the we're the salt of the world.
Ah,
So yeah, so we have a guy in our ministry, Randall. He paints those, and so yeah, it's pretty cool. So he made me one, and he actually has reprints and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty significant. So I'm setting up. Actually, I'm in my prayer room, and we just recently set up the whole thing. So I got the desk. I called you yesterday. You helped me walk through the whole Zoom thing. So now we got pretty much everything set up. It's pretty much, I want to say 70% set, you know what I mean? But it's a lot more intimate than it was, so yeah, we turned our what is that, the little closet that you put all the, the linen in and all that kind of
uh-huh.
stuff. Yeah, we changed it and made it into a whole prayer closet, man, so
I think that's a thing now, right? People need their space in their house that they can be virtual.
yeah. I
It's no
mean,
longer
it
like a
really
temporary
is.
thing.
Hey,
There's Naki.
Mackie, nice.
Internet, man.
Oh man, I'm telling you, that's
I was
part of the
just
whole
saying,
process. You got to get kicked out before you come back in now.
yeah.
Oh
I was
my
just saying, we're all
gosh.
used to that. We're all used to getting frozen. We're all used to getting, with the technical difficulties. So we
Yeah.
just chatted it up about his shirt. Go ahead and show Naki your
Oh,
shirt.
let me
Yeah, I
see.
got this
Oh, I
yeah,
like that.
this covered 91. So it's after Psalms 91, where God's protection is on us. And so yeah, we try to bring some hope right now, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I was telling Carl, he said, "Where can I get one of those?" I was like, "This is a one of one right now." We made the whole print, and then and we realized we're in a pandemic, and then all of a sudden we couldn't ship things out the way we wanted to. And so yeah, now it's opened up. Like we've got connected with some warehouses and some shirts. I think people now I'm starting to see the stream opening back up, so it's gonna be cool. Yeah. So I told them some people inquired. A lot of people from the Bay Area,
Yeah.
mostly from the Bay Area. And then next thing you know, I was like, man, I'm sorry. I said, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and send you a shirt, no cost, man, when we get back up and running, man. I was like, shoot, I wore it to church and people were like, hey, you selling it? I was like, okay, so but it was cool, but it was cool. But it's a one-of-one right now, man.
Awesome. Before I got cut off, we were talking about the draft and how football season is coming back. And
yeah,
I know you're a big football fan.
Oh yeah. Man, I'm excited. I mean, it's unfortunate that they moved that big trash site over here to Las
I
Vegas.
noticed they moved that big trash site over to Las Vegas.
I think the Allegiant trash site or something,
Yes.
the major trash site.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, but yeah, no, I'm just playing. But I just found out that they're gonna play the 49ers in the preseason. They just released their schedule today.
Nice.
And come to find out, it's in San Francisco. I was like, oh man. So I was hoping that it was out here, but they do have Miami coming out here. And so
that'll be good.
Yeah, so all of a sudden my oldest is a Miami Dolphin fan. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I know. I don't know how that worked out, but
how did that happen?
Yeah,
you know
we're sending out our DNA test tomorrow. So,
let me just tell you that his oldest daughter looks just like him. We were like, when she was first born, we were like, "Are you sure you're the mother?"
Yeah, for real. Oh man, Deja's
like
something else. Yeah, Deja's 22, so. And now she's like, yeah, Dad, but she's been a Miami Dolphin fan. And so now she's like, man, I got reason to cheer for them now, So she is like juiced, man. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So for people that may not know who you are, can we just have you, Pastor, just tell us a little bit about, everything about yourself and, your beautiful family, your wife, your beautiful wife.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Laki Siaki. I have a beautiful wife, Caroline. We've been married this July 18th. We're going to be married 20 years. And
wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And so we're excited. We're praying that the airlines open up so we get the heck up out of here and away from our children. You know what I mean? Right. I love my kids, but I don't want to see their face on my anniversary. And so, but 20 years, we're celebrating July 18th. Nice. And so we were married in 2000, and so beautiful thing. And We got 4 kids. My oldest, Deja, she's 22, and she received her AA, and she finished off at Cal Poly Pomona, and she headed back home. And so she's going to be pursuing her master's here at UNLV. And so right now with the online thing, it really opened up some things. And so she's kind of like, really, really good. She was playing basketball, and she kind of like got all the basketball out of her, which I'm happy she did.
Yeah.
And then May, my daughter May,
yes.
She's 19, and she's man, I'm talking about such a blessing. Helps me and her mom in the ministry. Worships, such a beautiful voice, and she's really coming into her own. I'm so proud of her. And then she's also working out here. And then my youngest daughter, McKenna, she's 14. That's like the athlete, the beast of the family right there.
Nice.
And man, I'm telling you, she's so competitive, man. And man, she's something to deal with. And so since she was 4, we asked her, where you want to go, for your birthday? And she told us an elephant bar. I said, Awoi, right? You know what I mean? Like, it was like, yeah.
Excuse me, what?
4. Yeah, I said, I feel sorry for the man that follows you. You know what I mean? So yeah, she's not a Happy Meal girl. She's definitely a Cheesecake Factory. You know what I mean? And so she's something else. But and then along with my son too, my son is my youngest. He's 11, and his name is Nehemiah. And man, I'm telling you, that guy, that's a story in inside of itself. When my wife was pregnant, they actually told us that she had a rare case. There was something going on inside the umbilical, the whole womb. And they wanted to check him out because UC San Francisco, UCSF, they wanted to do a free study on her because they never seen a case like that. And it scared us, And man, we went before God and we prayed, and we're like, man, and the boy came a month early, right? He came a month early, and the day he came out was July 18th. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the boy just like took over our anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he came out 8 pounds a month early, preemie.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I know, man.
One more month and he'd come out ready to go to school.
I'm telling you, he would have been in the draft. Yeah, he would have been in the draft. And so, man, so he came out 8 pounds, 9 ounces, I believe. And then even the nurses, they were coming in the room like, hi, is this the preemie? And they're, hey, is this room 35C? You know what I mean? And they were tripping out, man. And so I had my son, or, we had our son. And man, thank God he came out. And they said, my man just had a big dome. And I believe God just really did something, for us. And man, it was such a blessing. Me and my wife, we were cool with our girls. And we were like, kept going for a boy. And we said, you know what? We're going to keep going. We're going to keep trying. And then on our 4th one, we're like, you know what? We'll just trust God, And so, yeah, we're kind of happy that it worked out like that. But been started off, born and raised in San Francisco, all my life. And then moved out to Sacramento for the last 2 years of my high school, kind of ran into some trouble as a kid. And then my mom was like, I can't deal with you. I lost my dad at a young age. Yeah. And so mama was kind of like holding down the fort the best that she could. And man, I'm telling you, I was the youngest out of 5 siblings, and the older ones are grown up. You know what I mean? They're 10, 11 years, above me. And so we really couldn't relate like that, and I was just coming into my own as a youngster, and they had their families going. So we're in different seasons, man. And so I moved up to Sacramento, graduated out there, and man, shout out to my family in Rancho Cordova that's going through some things. And that's exactly where I graduated from. I graduated from Cordova High School. Yeah. And so I know that area really is familiar with me. And then, man, moved back to the Bay Area for a few, worked in a biotech company, worked in the valet section in San Francisco Airport. And man, just was doing it. You know what I mean? Meaning like the work life. And then God just started tugging at my heart, just really tugging at my heart. And next thing you know, man, I got connected with a ministry in San Francisco, got my feet in there, started to really find out who God was for me. And then as time grew, kind of moved out here when we heard that they're going to start a ministry here. Me and my wife were going to senior pastor under that former organization. Yeah. And man, came out here and God just like kind of like detoured us. And it was a really scary moment. I pray that we get into that a little bit, because I feel like that's a big part of my testimony. All right. And man, as he detoured us, it was like really a scary moment in my life, in my family's life, because all we knew basically ministry was growing up, you know what I mean, as leaders, we grew up in that kind of organization. And so when God told us to go a separate way, the image kind of came across to some as oh, this guy's fia poco, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
All of a sudden, and I know on the Faika podcast, I wouldn't say this on another podcast, but this is where we keep it real. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, people that their perception of me was like, I wanted to be the guy, and that was the farthest thing from the truth, man. I was just a big support, and I wanted to help, and I just heard God say that this is the route that He wants to be. I heard one quote that said, "The worst thing in life is to be successful in the wrong assignment."
Right.
And
that's awesome.
and that really, really like spoke to me, because I don't want to be somewhere where God doesn't want me to be.
Right.
And I used to almost talk down, not intentionally, but I used to talk down to people who didn't get paid as much, or for the school teachers who are like underpaid, and still we need them to get paid. But I thank God for my third grade teacher. When my dad had passed away, he was a big comfort to me, and I still remember his name. His name was Mr. Perez. And I still remember him. And even though he was underpaid, I believe that God had him in that position to comfort
for
me.
You. Exactly.
And I think that people sometimes don't see the bigger picture and see like how blessed we are in what we do. Some people, we go after the money, and unfortunately that does play a part. And it's nice if you do something you love and get paid.
Yes.
But what I'm saying is, don't get so caught up in the stuff that gets you paid, and then you're just working all your life. And I don't know, man, it just can go on and on. So I've been out here in Las Vegas. We've pastored for 10 years now. I can't believe it out here.
I know, that's awesome.
Man, 10 years. We're going to celebrate 10 years this year. But as Win the City, our ministry currently transitioned to Win the City Las Vegas, we're going to celebrate 3 years, and so, but I've been pastoring for 10. And man, this year God has opened up so many doors, and it's just been a real blessing, man. Even this one, so honored to be on here.
Oh my God, we're so happy to get you.
Man, I've been wanting to sneak off. Every time I come up to the AMU, I'm like, man, let's go around the corner and do a podcast, man. I'm like, because you guys had some, like, a lot of people on here, but my family, what I'm saying? Like Soma, my brother, man, Christine, that's my family.
Yes.
And I'm talking about like people like when I'm tuning in, you guys had Criminati or Al Key.
Yeah.
I know him. We grew up, went to Burbank middle school together, And so when I was watching that, I was like, man, it's so diverse, man. Like
it's very diverse.
I love it. You know what I'm saying? And so
thank you.
I was just like, this is real cool.
We just wanted to show your logo so that if people are looking for every Sunday, Pastor, let me just say that I always go at around 11 o'clock. I go, okay, if you got to log off and go to, if you need a pastor to go watch, you got to go to Win the City, Las Vegas. He's on at 11. Come back later and watch us. And then, so I'm glad this is the logo, people, that you have to look for, that to know that you're in the right area. So Pastor Laki Siaki, Win the City, Las Vegas. So
yeah, I really appreciate that. And I've been seeing, like, honestly, I've been seeing some people, like my wife said, our website. So we get notified when our website goes off. And ever since a couple of days ago when you guys promoted, and said I'm going to be on, man, we were seeing people from Maryland, New Zealand.
That's awesome.
And so I was like, I was kind of like, look at God, but I was like, that's not God. That's Faika podcast, right?
That is God.
That's probably by design. That's probably by design.
We also wanted to put up your flyer, your worship experience at 11 a.m. service. YouTube, WTCLV. Your Facebook is Win the City Media. And that's the handsome pastor right there. So that's his flyer. That's their logo. This is what you need to look for on Sundays and Wednesdays, or whenever you see Pastor on, that is his page. So that's how you know you're on the right page.
And your media team, whoever did your flyer, did a great job.
Awesome.
I mean, you got good artists there.
Thank you. Yeah, they're a great group, man. These guys are so. The best word and I hope it doesn't sound wrong, but the best word to describe that group is just obedient, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes when you hear obedient, you be like, who are you? No, it's not that. It's these people never had a background in that. You know what I mean? Like they're not savvy, like tech savvy. These people are just, they believe in the vision so much. You know what I mean? That they'll go and do their own research. I mean, on their own dime at sometimes, most of the time. And it's just so humbling, man, to see people, trying to do their best. We believe we serve a God of excellence, right? And so, man, we want to be attractive. I'll never forget, we went to Hawaii one time to start a ministry out there. That time I was part of the church planning with the prior organization, and we had printed out flyers, and the flyers were double-sided, glossy, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I was handing them to a guy in Eva Beach and telling him, hey, we're gonna have service tonight. And the guy just like looked at me with his hands behind his back, and then I was like, you can have the flyer, and he was like, no, bro, no. You know, those are expensive. You know what I mean?
Oh.
You know, and I was like, he took a picture on his phone, and I was like, brother, you can have the flyer cost. You know what I mean? You know,
it's yours.
Like, right.
It's yours.
Like, yeah, right. Come on. You know, and so we were cracking up at that, but I tripped out. You know what I mean? Because when people see that kind of stuff, you know, and some people they came to our church thinking it was a club when we opened up in Vegas. Yeah. They thought it was a club because only club people promote with flyers, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so we had flyers and people were coming out like, for real, bro. I saw you on the, on the card, and I was like, I don't know if that's DJ Khaled or, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, man, first off, it wouldn't be free entry if it was DJ Khaled.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So we would start cracking up, but yeah, it's a trip, man.
Yeah. We've been following your journey, and then I'm so proud to see the work that you're doing. It's good, honest, from the heart work. Thank you. So I know when you first got out there, when you first started, let me just back up a little. The one thing that I love and that I always direct people your way is because I know how you grew up. And so I know I've watched your journey. I've seen you in places where I shouldn't have been either. Right. But to watch you transition into where you're at now, I'm so proud. And it just, because when you speak it, people know that you've been there. So most of the people that really need to hear your word are the people that are going through what you went through. So for you to be the pastor and to pastor people that really need it, and that you've gone through, you're experienced in their trouble, some of their troubles, is major. And I think that's why a lot of people connect to you, and that your congregation, flocks to you because you have the same experiences as them.
Yeah, it's amazing how God brought me out here like that. Like, so many people, like if you scan the church, there's so many people who didn't have a relationship with their father. You know, there's some people who lost their father. I'm dealing with people in the ministry who are, adopted, or they have children who are adopted. And so similar to the upbringing, I'm dealing with so many people who were in the street and really they never saw a pastor. I'm not saying they're not out there, but they have never saw a pastor that looked like them, spoke like them, and was like relevant. Right. And so they're kind of like, hey man, you almost made the thing too easy to understand. You're right. Yeah. And I think at most times, this is not a knock on churches, is that what makes the church unattractive is that when you're so deep that it's not relevant. You know what I mean? Right. Like I'm all for David and Goliath, but how are them rocks going to help me? You know what I'm saying? Like tell the story, tell it and what God given you. But I need to know how Noah's Ark. I want to know how that boat helps me. And sometimes, we're going to church and hearing all these stories. I mean, we grew up and that kid, I'm not knocking, how we grew up or the church, because, we're family, Right. And when I was going to church, it was just, White Sunday and,
me too.
Right. And like I said, this is not, because I don't want to come off like that. I'm not attacking, because I need to make sure that people understand. I'm not against that. My mind has really renewed. If that's the area that you feel led in, and then God has you there, man, go for it. Yes. What I'm saying is that's not for everyone. Right. Right. So my thing is, what about the other people? Let me give you one quick example. Like there's a lady who did missionary work. And so she went out there to speak, and she was in Taiwan. And while she was in Taiwan, her mom is Marilyn Hickey, and I forget what her name is, but she was doing missionary work. So she was going out there helping. So she was in Taiwan, right? And this is a story I'm trying to use to give people a different outlook instead of always seeing things so churchy. You know what I mean? And so she went out there for missionary work, and she went outside at 4 a.m. because, when you travel, your time is off and things like that. Well, it was 4 a.m. Taiwan, but Taiwan time, but it was different her time. So she couldn't go to sleep. Right. So she went outside, Carl, Naki, she went outside at 4 a.m. and by a busy street right on the sidewalk, there was infant babies without anybody watching.
Holy.
So there was 5 infant babies under 4 months old, all laying there, 5 with nobody watching, nobody in the area. Their mothers were prostitutes. And so what they would do was leave the baby because they didn't, right? They took the baby there and they had nobody, they were prostitutes. Right. So they would go and prostitute themselves to make money. But since they had to go out during these hours, nobody would babysit their baby.
Oh, wow.
So they would come back. Now, this is a missionary. And she said, I started to notice them the next night, they did the same thing. So she said she would watch the babies, right? While they would go out and do their thing.
Wow.
And so this is the thing that really ministered to me. She said Christians had 2 options. One, to curse, right? So, to curse, what was going on, like, oh, you're prostitutes. She said, or you can light a candle, And so she said, I chose to light a candle in the dark. Like, so what I did was I opened up an orphanage, or I opened up a babysitting only for moms who were prostitutes.
Prostitutes, wow.
Ain't that something?
That's awesome.
And so that's like unheard of ministry, right? So my thing is, what about those people? I mean, like, we can go on and on. And so that's been my whole, my whole objective is to reach the crowd. Like, God has blessed me to be able to reach the businessman and then also reach the guy who's, on the street, Right. And so I'm thanking God. And I know that's God's hand on my life to do that. That's not me totally, but I'm submissive to what God is telling me. But I kind of looked at that and I said, you know what? We're in Las Vegas. If we try to get all the people who are straight and narrow, we're going to have a 2-seater church. Right. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, right? I mean, it's gonna be, and I don't even think I can show up if it's only straight and narrow. Me and my wife ain't invited. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just like, man, like, who can make it in these kind of churches? And so that's where we kind of looked at and we said, and I appreciate the comment about honest. Is the only thing I can do is be transparent. Right. The good thing about transparency, and I'm talking about as a pastor and maybe flat across the board, is that you show your hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
The bad thing about transparency is you show your hand. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like you'll be calling you on stuff that you already testified on. You know what I mean? Like, bro, I told you I used to sell dope. Why are you leaving the church? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, that was part of my whole...
George Ismail said the nourishment of the spiritual soul.
Wow. Come on. Come on, George. Shout out to George too. What's going
on? We were just talking about him and his son. So
that's cool, man.
I think one of the things that I've always admired about you from a practical standpoint and what you do is you've got the gift of gab. Like, you can hold an audience. You know what I mean? You can get their attention. You hold it. Was that something that you had before you got into the ministry? Have you always been able to just, tell stories and hold people's attention? Or is that something that you developed as you got into it? Or is it even something you're aware of?
Yeah. But what's funny, and not to give a deep answer.
Yeah.
It was actually a form of keeping people at a distance, because I was so hurt, growing up, adopted, my dad passed at 10, growing up, we lost our home, I'm going from house to house, and like I said, there was a little distance between me and my sisters and my brother, they were moving on with their family and I was a youngster. And so, me having a sense of humor and me being able to capture was a way for people to kind of like approve of me, and like I said, I didn't want like a deep answer, but it's the best answer that I can possibly give. And I didn't realize it was a defense mechanism. It was like don't get too close to me, y'all. Let me keep you entertained, And so just like Peter, like if you read the word, and Peter was a fisherman. And when he saw Jesus, Jesus told him, follow me and I'll make you to be a fisher of men. And so I had the gift of gab in the street. I had the gift of gab, selling dope and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so God just said, you know what? You already got the gift of gab. Come and, and be my mouthpiece, And so I just found out that I was just, advertising pretty much a different product. You know what I mean? And so I just took that and I said, you know what? Here it is. And some people, they really appreciate like how transparent I am. And then some people are just super offended. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, you're super offended, but the fact is, really, you don't want to open up to anybody, because you're always, I don't know, we're kind of like, we're so what is that? People conscious. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And they, they dictate who we are. And I just told somebody the other day, I said, this is what I'm going to do when you guys record. We were going in for a taping.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, and it won't change. And then this what our media team told me. He said, yeah, Pastor, it won't change if you don't watch anybody else's recordings. You know what I mean?
Right.
And at first I kind of like, what? And they said, because if you believe God gave you that, then it won't be swayed by what you see somebody else do. And sometimes we're so like moved on what we're seeing other people do. You know what I mean?
That's
like
true.
Everybody wants a, big church. Then if you're called to have a big church, do it. Everybody wants a big business, start a wherever, a podcast. Yeah. It's a lot of work. I mean,
it's a lot of work.
Thank God for Naki. Thank God for Carl. Man, Carl gave me a crash course in Zoom. And it took 33 hours on my behalf. Carl was like asking me like, why is that icon not there? And it was there. I just did not see it. Okay. And so, man, it was something else. I was like, Carl, thank you for your time, man. Oh my God. But other than that, I mean, it's just those things I've been able to do that. And so my wife, she always tells me, she says, man, people, they're so drawn, to you. Mm-hmm. And that's been another challenge is to make sure that people are not so much drawn to you because you'll always let people down. Yeah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No matter what you do, you'll let people down. Like I'm a Niner fan, and every time
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Right? It took me a while in Vegas when I used to say I'm a Niner fan and I used to hear people boo. I felt like devil out. You know what I mean? I was like, what? Did I just hear a boo? Get on my church.
Banish them.
Yeah, I'm the pastor. You are not allowed here, but yeah, I mean, stuff like that is people are not going to agree, right, with everything you do. So that was one of my major challenges. And I want to say I did a better job of getting over that, but I think it still rises up from here and, here and there. You kind of want people to feel what you're about, but not everybody's going to do that.
Yeah. I think that part of what gives you the ability to hold people's attentions. You're so relatable. You relate to the crowd, and because you're practicing in Las Vegas, I don't get to hear you talk that much. But when I told Naki this the last time we heard you speak. I was like, I love listening to him speak because he's going to take you on a ride. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's going to have some sports references, but it's going to get there. It's going to touch you. It's going to make you feel. But every time I get the privilege and the chance to hear you speak, I'm always excited, like, oh, he's going to take us on a ride. Yeah. And, I remember Brother JT's services. But every time there's always this, you're just holding the attention and you take us on a ride. I appreciate that. And I think that makes us all relatable to you. Raider fans relate to you, whether it's whether it's with laughter, like did you just really say that?
Yeah, man. We got to meet on better terms, man. Like it seems like every time I'm in the Bay Area, unfortunately, man, it's like, we lost somebody else that's dear, and JT that's a Bay Area icon. You know what I mean? Like that was somebody that really, really I looked up to and really like gave his props, man. And the brother has such a good heart. And so when they reached out to me, his wife Christine, reached out to me and told me that right now, unfortunately, the way things are looking, it might not work out with my husband. And so we would be honored if you would do that. And it touched my heart, man. And so it was such a privilege, but I want to call it like an unfortunate privilege. You know what I mean? Sure. Yeah. And man, just going through the whole thing and seeing, what God was doing in that whole entire homegoing service. And man, I'm telling you, it's funny because still till today, I'll bump into people in Vegas and they're from the Bay Area and they'll be like, hey, you did JT's service, huh? And I was like, man, you was funny as hell, man. Yeah. But it's cool. And and one of the things about laughter, right? I mean, laughter, I found out it opens up the spirit, and laughter opens up the spirit. And so
that's true.
I'm able to teach the word. It's like a deposit while the spirit is open. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so like, you laugh and then boom, and then we get serious again a little bit. Then we laugh and and so, but yeah, it was like, man, such a great honor. And just to be able to reflect back and see everything that he's done. We've lost a Jungle, and he was in my line, in my wedding line.
Yes.
My good brother, And man, just seeing people like that, gone, man, I'm just telling you, San Francisco is really like, not to turn the page on this.
Yeah.
San Francisco has really changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you go to San Francisco, and before I was like, I can't wait, to go to San Francisco. Yeah. And I'm going to stay there for 5 days. Yeah. Now I land in San Francisco. I'm like, let's go get a little Luca sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, let's go get a Bravo's pizza. You know what I mean? And let me go get my El Taqueria burrito from Michigan. And
it's like, all the foods.
And visit my family and the cemetery, and then be like, all right, y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Out. Yeah.
And not to say it like that, but it's like I feel that way, sometimes. Yeah, it's just a trip,
Yeah.
Jackie's service really touched me. I didn't know until you were well into speaking, and Naki had told me that it's special because you're not just a pastor speaking about somebody who had passed. You were boys. You knew each other, and I didn't know that until you were several minutes into it before Naki and her husband Mo were talking about, this isn't just a pastor saying verses. Right. This is somebody who is close to the person that passed, and I think that for everybody. I just learned it that day, but most everybody understood that. I think it meant that much more knowing how close you were with him.
Yeah, I felt that.
Yeah.
Like I felt when I went up there, I felt like almost like a, inquiring minds want to know. And when I went up there, it was like, wow. And they were telling me, so many reports, like, it's unfortunate, like, and I'm not trying to give a blueprint on how to do a service, right? Homegoing, because, but it just seems like homegoing service is all about, like, I don't know, it's just dragging and, and it's just dragging and dragging. But the thing is it's supposed to be a celebration of life, but you're still supposed to be sensitive enough, you know what I mean? That you're not, you're not insensitive, like, hey, y'all, he in heaven, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, there's a whole front row of people that's missing, you know what I'm saying? Missing, and so you got to have that. And God is the only one who can, like, and I hate, like, and not hate, but, I don't want to keep on making it seem like, but it really is. So when people come to me and say, hey, man, you did such a great job, I'm thankful because I did do the studying, I did pray, I did prepare myself, and also I gave room to allow, Holy Spirit and God to, like, really do its thing, you know what I mean? And not its thing, their thing. And so I was kind of like, for those things. And so that has caused, some more things, and it's a trip because it was kind of funny because after the service, right? One of my good friends, we were out there in the streets and he goes, he comes to me, he said, man, he goes, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be, I don't want to use vulgar language or whatever, but he's like, nigga, I didn't even know you if you was a pastor or I start laughing when he said that. I'm like, and then he felt all weird, and I go, bro, you're good. You know what I'm saying? And you're good. Like, that's a real reaction. You know what I mean? Like the last time we were physically in the same area, we were doing something we weren't supposed to do. You know what I mean? And now I'm up here with a tie talking about God is good and speaking a prayer and stuff. So he didn't know how to relate. And he told me, he said, people like you, man, you give me hope. You know what I mean? And that thing you don't know what it does for me. Right. Like, and I'm not looking for that, like a praise, but man, it goes a long way, man. Like, because it is hard. It is tough days. And, and man, I'm going to tell you, it gets dark. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but you never realize the people that you touch. Like Brian Cassidy is on and he says, I'm not devout, but love watching Lucky during his services when I see them on my timeline. Keep it up, fam.
I appreciate Brian, man. I love you, man.
Yeah.
I think that's part of what we always say is we all cast a shadow. We just don't know how big.
Come on.
You know what I mean? We're all a pebble in somebody's pond. Yep. How big is that ripple? And when people are coming to you and going, wow, I didn't see you that way, or that gives me hope and those kind of things. Yeah. Sometimes, and Naki and I talk about this a lot, we'll never know. Like you'll affect somebody positively and you'll never get a chance to talk with them and they don't get that chance to tell you, wow, you said this and it really like that clicked in my head, or I saw you do this and that inspired me or told me not to do something. Or a lot of those people, you just never get the chance to know how positively you affect people.
Yeah. That's like your third grade teacher. Like your third grade teacher. She doesn't even know the words and the words that she gave you to jumpstart you.
Yeah, I'm talking about those things go such a long, long way. And like shoot, I was in Kent, Washington a while ago, and I was speaking at an anniversary at a church, and went in there, spoke at an anniversary, and then we're eating. So they had the whole reception in the cafeteria. They were using the school as their service, and next thing you know, man, I'm eating. Hands are all dirty, like they had ribs and all that. So I'm just feeling myself.
Your grub on.
And and that's one of the perks of being a pastor, man. They give you the biggest plate,
tons of food
first. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'll take it. Usually I don't look for the plate first, but bring me my plate first. I'm starting, right? So we're sitting, I'm tearing it up, and then all of a sudden, my eyes, look up, and they see like a lady, and a young man is like walking her down, right? And then like they're staring at me, but she's crying, and I'm like, what? So I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking like, okay, I know the service today was good, but I don't think it was that good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like crying good, right? So she comes down, yeah, right, still crying like we're eating ribs, like, and so she comes down, and the next thing you know, and then I'm wiping my hands off and everything. I stand up, and they go, Pastor, she used to live in Las Vegas, and she had a she was in domestic violence and this and that, and she didn't know where to go. And this pastor in Washington, told her, hey, come to your church. And she walked in and she found the Lord, and her life changed, and she's so thankful, right? And then she moved to Washington, and she was there serving in their ministry. Happily married, children,
nice.
All kind of stuff, right? And she was like, you just don't know what the words, you just don't know what you did, right? And honest to God, I'm like, have I ever saw you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, who are you? You know what I mean? But I'm just like, hey, man, you got to put on that best, hey, man. And I'm like, girl, I'm like, did you dye your hair? Because I don't recognize you. And so we're just sitting there, but it's those things, I'm talking about those things, man. Like, that just think, man.
That makes you go on, like it like read you. It's like maybe confirmation of that you're in the right road, or you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
That's why we're so big with the role models. Is like, there's teachers, there's coaches, there's aunts and uncles, and all these people that don't know how positively they've affected lives.
Right.
If she didn't move to Kent, then you never realize, that you affected her life. I think that's the power of modeling. We're doing some work with smoking right now with the Pacific Islander community. And that was one of the things that the focus groups really told us was, I just saw people that I thought were cool smoking.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be smoking. It could be anything. It could be, drink. It could be something negative or positive. But who knows whether the people that they saw smoking that they thought were cool, who knows if they even, know that they were in some way a reason somebody's picked up smoking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably don't know that. So I don't know. The shadow that we cast is bigger than we think.
Yeah.
Obviously,
definitely.
Being a pastor, that yours is big, but it's bigger than even that you would think, because there's people that haven't spoken to that.
I just want to, I'm sorry to cut you off. There's Missy Kapana is on, Missy, Lisa Tautolo Joaquim. Mona said, he did a great job. I love when he opens his mouth, the words he makes you feel the spirit. Awesome.
Wow.
Thank you, Mona. Tassi Fiso, Shelby and Patrick are on. Hey. Jeanette Nevia, Elisaya Lilo Mayava, Rachel Jordan, Lily Felicito Esse.
Hey.
Hey, Lily.
Mama.
Lisa Rati, Ciela is from Samoa. She's tuning in. So check out Lucky every Sunday, Pastor Lucky. Monica, who is in Texas.
Wow.
Jake, I mean, there's tons and tons of people here who are just loving your story. A lot of the things, Pastor, that we've been talking about lately is COVID-19.
Yeah.
And you guys are still shelter in place?
Yes, they just updated today. Saturday, the salons and stuff are open.
Oh, that's important.
My toenails, yes.
Yeah. Pedicure.
Yes, yeah.
One of the things that we were talking about is that PIs have in California are the race or the community, PI community is the highest to be diagnosed with COVID-19.
Really?
Yeah, and especially in the LA County, the numbers are like high. And so they're trying to figure out ways of getting our people to, and I think the thing is we still get together, you know what I mean? And we just did that for Marshall's, is we had a burial that Lurleen had a separate, and there was like 100 of us there.
Wow. Yeah.
And we all showed up with gloves and everything, and they're still trying to get the information out to the PI community. And one of the big things that they're saying that is to reach out to the pastors to help them spread the word.
Yeah.
Because you guys are basically the leaders in our community. You know, Samoan people, church is, that's it. And so what do you think about pastors giving that message or trying to talk to their community, your parish about, hey, because you're not getting together, and there's some churches that are still getting together, but you're doing your job too by not congregating and going online. Like, do you think it should be some of the pastor's responsibility, or what is your take on that?
Yeah, I mean, we here at Las Vegas, as soon as we heard, there wasn't even a whole, hey, shelter in place mandated before we took the measure to close down.
Right.
Awesome. my whole thing is this, and I think everybody needs to move like pastors. I think pastors need to move according to their conviction of what God is telling them to do, right? And I truly believe if God tells you to do something, he'll cover it. But I think we're so programmed to just run at a race, because church is at a building on a Sunday at this time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
People don't know, how to adjust, right? And so because it's about people. I mean, like the church is about people. I've always said that the church was never meant to be built on the backs of people. Right. You know what I mean? Never. Like the church is never supposed to be meant to be built on the backs of people.
Right.
The church is supposed to put people on their back, you know what I mean? And lift them up. So we as pastors, we play a major, I'm talking about major, like a role, and whether we like it or not, and I had a sermon a while ago, and I said, you won't know how much influence the pastor has until you realize you're sitting in a congregation or a ministry or a church or assembly or whatever you want to call it, a gathering full of people who are influenced by what the pastor says. So I said, Pendletons and stuff like that, and plaid shirts, are in. And I did that, and I told my leadership, I said, watch how I'm going to talk about like plaid and and Pendleton shirts and stuff. And we started to see people wearing Pendletons, and wearing plaid shirts, and it was innocent. It wasn't done like let me mess with their mind, you know what I mean? No, it was. That's how much influence that men and women of God, have behind the pulpit. So there's a story, right? There's a story that really amazed me. It's in one of the chapters of Mark, I believe. And so Jesus was healing, okay? And he healed this man who was in this cemetery. And the man was in the cemetery cutting himself. The Bible said, he rushed Jesus and told Jesus, why do you torment me? And Jesus basically told him, he said, man, come out of you, you unclean spirit. And so he said, what is your name? And the guy said, Legion. He had 6,000 demons. And so he cast out the demons. So this guy was cutting himself, right? Now, if you read this chapter, it's such a trip, and the guy said he was cutting himself. And then after he was healed, the Bible said that he was in his right mind, and people were terrified to see this guy who they knew as crazy now in his right mind. So this guy that was healed asked Jesus, he said, can I go with you? Like, I want to go with you now, right? And you know what Jesus said? He said, don't go with me, but tell all your family about what I did. Right. Now, in the same chapter, Jesus kept moving and healed a 12-year-old girl who was dead. Right. So he had her rise from her death, rise like, out of her death. And then the family said, can we go tell all our family? And he said, don't tell a soul. So I thought to myself, you told one family, right, go tell everybody. Then you told one family, don't say a word. So what's the difference? Mm-hmm. I did my study. They were in two different cities, and one city needed to know that there was a savior. Uh-huh. The other city that he said, don't say a word, is because the law of the land, the governor issued, if anybody moves in spiritual healings, you'll be killed. Oh. So Jesus himself honored the law of the land. Right. You know what I mean? Right. So if the governor is saying stay at home, malo lolo, sit, right. Go home.
Right.
And the thing is like, just chill. And this too shall pass. And so I also want to add on this is, I believe, though, with no disrespect, I believe now with COVID-19, I believe now we've entered into the fear-driven stage.
I believe that.
What do I mean by that is that I believe now that they're just trying to show us the deaths and show us the cases rising up. You know what I mean? But a lot of those cases, they're being, they're being wrongfully, done. So there was a lady, I don't know if you guys heard about this. This happened in, I believe, Montana, where the grandmother was on hospice. And so she was already like, pretty much given days or weeks or months to live. And so when they did her autopsy, they found out that she contracted COVID. And so what they did is they put in her, pretty much, her their death, certificate or whatever, that she died of COVID. And the family is suing the city now because she didn't die of that. But the city's coming back and saying, no, we were instructed by our government that anybody that passes right now and has any signs of it, that's the death, Yeah. And so we're seeing death rates rise up. We're seeing people saying, that it's climbing. I'm not saying it's false.
Right.
But I am saying right now we're ramping up the numbers, and how honest are these numbers? You know what I mean? And so for us Polynesians, I don't think we ever really exercise, shelter in place. You know what I mean?
Now that's the problem, right?
Yeah. And now we're just, so now we're abusing the thing in a way where we're going to people's house, and hanging out, and your family comes over here and my family goes there and let's all meet,
Yeah.
So you don't realize. And so just because me and you are healthy, right, man, we're putting other people at risk, what I mean? Because we could carry the thing where somebody is underlining and could affect them. So for us in Winter City, we're not planning to have a service again until June. So for the month of May, we've already installed hand sanitizers and we've already took precaution. We don't have a fairly big square footage. So the social distancing, but we are going to provide like masks and, if you want, on request. Obviously we just can't be passing out masks every Sunday, but if you want, if that makes you feel better. And then we're going to be dismissing people at a certain time, like this section go,
give it nice.
This section go, so that we're doing the best we can, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think there was like a little bit of a war, like, you guys may have not noticed it because you're not really into like to the on the pastor kind of watch like I am. But I started to, we started to hear some flack, not towards me. You started hearing the body of Christ pastors who are, you need to be a man of faith, and open your church, I'm like, bro, calm down. You know what I'm saying? and then you're starting to see these other guys and they're saying, we're going to have church at home, and then some people, they almost sounded like dang near hypocritical because they're like, man, you don't want to have people watch online And then when that was our only option, they were the main ones. Hey, see us online.
Online, right?
I'm like, hey, y'all were online. It was online. I'm like, oh, stop it. So, like I said, to each his own. And I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I don't know, man. Just learn how to roll. There's been a lot of things that's been happening over here. It's good, and it's crazy. Yeah. Good things. And I'm not disrespecting any deaths and all those people contracted. There's been so much good, you know. And if we can, I hope I don't go too far on, but it's the thing that really tripped me out is during this COVID, right? And I'm not trying to encourage anybody to go get some debt, all right? Because I'm believing debt free. I don't want to obtain no debt. But let's say you needed another car, right now. They're offering 0% finance.
This is the time to get a car.
Right? I mean, the housing rates. I was just at the credit union opening up my daughter McKenna's a bank account, and we went over there, and it's 2.75. You know what I mean? Wow. And I'm like, and then they're offering homeowners to defer their loan for 3 months or 6 months, depending on what kind of loan you have. Yeah. And I'm not, and I know, people have their small businesses are being offered this. There was a stimulus given out, and I'm not trying to get too deep in that, but start to look at the good things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to pay rent. You can't get evicted. You're safe. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so right now it's like, don't just look at all the bad. And I think right now that's a major thing that's people are panicking, you know what I mean? And you can't help it. We're human. It's going to happen. Shoot, I ain't going to lie. Like I didn't, when they told us that the church is shut down, I was like, what? You know what I mean? Like, we can't go to church. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, first we took the precaution thinking that we're going to just, kind of like sit it out for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It's been 10 Sundays. We have not had a congregation sitting in there. You know what I mean? Right. So, and it's amazing. But boy, I tell you, man, in the 10 Sundays, God is doing some major things, man.
Yeah.
It's just something else.
There's a lot of positive stuff going on. There's people that are families are spending time together that haven't spent that kind of time together.
Come on.
Maybe ever. Yeah. I mean, there's face-to-face time. There's people that are, and I was talking about this a few shows ago, the people that are making intentional efforts to stay in contact with family members that, maybe you didn't do before, but there's a lot of good things happening coming out of this. And it's a scary time. I think you're right. I think that because politicians have shut the country down and there's so much damage to it, I think that some of the, just attribute everything to COVID is almost like, well, if the numbers go up, then we can justify what we've done. So if they inflate the numbers, then they can say, well, look what happened versus if the numbers stay low, which all that does is just exactly what you're saying. It just makes us not trust what's going on. And then you don't know whether, is it just a complete fear campaign, or is there some truth to it? Or you just start getting that cynical, we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah. I totally think I've said this before over and over again, that this is the time of reboot. Like, families are starting to spend time together. Like, I'm cooking, like, what? I'm cooking dinner, okay? And they're still alive. Yeah. I'm cooking and I'm spending a lot of time with my kids. I'm walking my dog every day. So, and normally I don't have time for that. And so, stuff may slow down.
Most of his prayers are answered. I'm telling you.
Pastor.
You prayer warrior, you. Oh, man.
Yes, I'm cooking. So, but I have noticed on social media, people are baking and people are hanging out and are not on their phones that much. It's awesome to see people cooking and showing what they're cooking, or half of the time they're at work, or like I was never home, honest to God. I was never. I go to work and then I PBD for the rest of and then it totally slowed me down. So
I'm finding out the same thing with our, like, isn't it a trip, right? Everybody, I don't want to say everybody, majority of the people, right? And it's safe to say, I think us three on the Zoom, right? We were so like, man, I need a rest. I need a break. I need some time to just chill, right?
Yeah.
And then we get this time to chill.
Yeah.
And now we're like, man, I can't wait to run again. You know what I'm saying? What? Make up your mind. You know what I mean? And so the thing is that we wanted to get out of that life to get into the rest. Now we were handed rest, kind of like, given it. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, we don't know how to rest. Like, man, it was, I'm telling you, it's such a trip. And people are like, I'm gonna take this time. I had to call one of my good friends and one of my pastor friends. If you're watching, man, shout out, man. I love you. And
what's his name?
Pastor Ruben.
Pastor Ruben.
And man, I called him and God put him in my heart. And I was telling him, because sometimes we're so programmed in what we do is like, don't take a break. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, hey man, don't let this time where we're supposed to be taking a rest, look like it's the time for the church to go pass out. Now if God told you to do whatever you're going to do it,
Yeah.
But I just think right now, don't let the rest pass you by. And then now when you go back, it's time to run. And we're like, I need a break from the break. You know what I mean? Right. And it's like, man, and so some of us, like I've been on Zoom, I've been on the other side of Zoom calls, like all of us, right? And we've been constantly, I've been working this, an online service is more challenging than a straight up physical service, man. Like, like this whole thing, like you don't know how much like I prepared just this time. I went inside and tested, and looked in the camera, see if I got bottles in my nose. I want to be on poly by the time with no booger. You know what I mean? So I'm there preparing myself and doing all this, and I'm like, man, so online is challenging. So this was something else. I mean, to learn these programs and they're updating them and upgrading, and you're signing up for subscriptions you didn't pay for before. Now you're paying. I mean, all kind of stuff finding out. And so it's just a trippy time, and man, it trips me out too about the people who kind of know too much. Yeah. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, if you know too much about what, what's going on right now, like, I don't know if I could trust you. You know what I mean? Yeah. We don't know what's going on. People say, what God is doing right now? Come on, bro. Like, like dude, you do not know all that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's kind of a trip.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think since I've been home, I've done so many Zoom, like there was normal conference calls, but now we've Zoom at least every day. There's a Zoom call, but I've learned now I know a lot more about the computer. I know, before I just let Carl take care of it. Yeah. Now I'm forced to take care. I'm forced to learn it. And I'm like, I just ask Carl, but now I can't work without, a lot of the stuff. And Carl is self-taught. So man, awesome stuff.
Well, she figured stuff out today that I couldn't get it to work, and she's the one that figured it out. But I was logged into the wrong account. Same thing as you, Pastor. I was like, what am I missing? And it was just I was never going to see it. I could do it a million times. I was going to do it wrong each time.
Right.
What is First Lady Caroline and the kids doing while COVID-19 is in shelter in place is on?
And man, cooking. And one of the things, like, she does, I do majority of the cooking, and so I enjoy it. I don't do it because, like, you dang people, I do it. I like it, right? Yeah. And so I'm cooking, and I'm one of those cooks that, like, I don't use measurements. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'll never repeat the same dish twice. Like, if it comes out good this one, it's like, hey man, I don't know if it's gonna come out as good next time. I don't do the 3 cups of baking soda. I don't do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, but yeah, and she's been doing that. Man, she's been like reading a whole bunch more. We've been, being able to talk to each other more. Yeah. And even like during this time, man, it's been pretty heated. Like, I don't want to throw all our business out on the street, but man, when you see each other 24/7 now, man, you're gonna get lightweight irritated. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be like, man, like, go upstairs or something. You know what I mean? Like, let me have 2 minutes to myself, and that's okay, because in our regular lives, we're not supposed to be glued to each other all day, right? And so we're kind of learning that, as the quarantine time, and then we come back. I'm sorry, I was just irritated. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, babe. One of those. But man, with my kids, I mean, like, shout out to all the teachers.
Yes.
And my kids too. Like, the last time I checked, they only fed you once at school. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you playing us now, because you know what I mean? Like, y'all eating 5 times and it ain't even 2:30. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man, you only eat one lunch until 2:30, then you can open the fridge, you know? Nah, I'm just kidding. But man, my kids be like, what? Like, we need some more whatever, Cheetos, and we need this, Dad, and get sandwich meat and buy this. And I'm like, man. And so it's constantly, I'm hungry. And I'm starting to catch them on TikToks a lot more. And I'm like, hey, man, go, I'm doing what my mom used to do back in days. Go read a book. You know what I mean? My mom used to always, I remember I told my mom that one time. I said, go read a book. She said, go read a book. And I said, we don't even have books. You know what I mean? My mom was like, hey, shut up. You know what I mean? So it's one of those. But we actually do have books in this house now. So I'm like, read a book. But most of my books are religious books, kind of, So I'm like, go read a book, how to master the spirit of your mind. You know what I mean? But I'm library, man, for my children, man. But yeah, one of those things. But my wife been really, like, I'm talking about, we just completed, not completed, but we remodeled our entire, our garage.
Mm-hmm. And so I seen that.
Saw that? And nice. So we hung it up. We hung up the 49er light, got a pool table. Mm-hmm. We did the floors, painted it. So we're putting up the TV, like as we speak, they're putting up the TV downstairs.
Nice.
Yeah, and so it's gonna be ready to go. And so one of those projects that we've been in our house for 5 years. And this is something that I wanted to do for 5 years. When we moved in, it was just what is that? Like what, I don't know what you call it, a drywall or something like that. Mm-hmm. It was just a new house.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, we're gonna paint this. It was primer. We're gonna paint it. We didn't do nothing. It was primer. You know what I mean?
Life happens. All that stuff waits.
Yeah. Man, we had shoes. We had over 100 pairs of shoes in our garage, and our kids had the nerve to go, wait, let us go through it. Fool, if you haven't used these shoes in 5 years,
right, it's gone.
So we gave them away, and salvate, all this kind of stuff, and donated them. Majority of them, but some of them we found out, that's where those go. Let me have those back. But we just been able to sort and really get together. I don't know, really appreciating time. I got my mom here, and man, I'm telling you, she's 76, and I just value.
What a blessing!
Yeah. Man, I just value time with her, man. And so she's on the first floor. We're blessed to have a 3-story home. So she's on the first floor, and she got her whole floor. She got it's like bedroom, master
she's
bedroom.
Hooked up.
Yeah, she's hooked up. So we don't see her sometimes for days. I'll be like, Mama, where'd you go? You know what I mean? And come upstairs, for her snack or her eating dinner. She'll smell somebody's son, what you cooking? So my mom, she chose to forget all the recipes that she cooked, as when I was young. And so I'm trying to help her mind go back. But she has her mind about everything else, just about the cooking. Her mind is
it's a little fishy there.
Right? But man,
you're 76, you can do that.
Yeah, I know, man. When they get older, man, they deserve it though.
Yeah.
Mama, she deserves it. I told her, no, you're good. You know what I mean? So it's been a blessing. I just been mainly like counting my blessings. I've been just things like that. Me and my wife, like, I don't know, like it was funny because we had took a break at the end of last year from ministry. We had took a 2-month break, 60 days. And we took a break all December and all January, right? Which was the first time we've ever done that. Wow. And it was like, man, and I actually, and I want to share this, I actually reached a stage where I fell into like depression. I fell into like anxieties were high. And man, I just went through a real bad like stage in my life where I feel like everything that I went through kind of like just all like piled up, you know, and there was no explanation. Like when I say depression, people always assume, well, what happened? You're not happy with your wife? You know what I mean? Your kids? You know what I mean?
No, that's totally not it.
I got into like mental health was challenged like to the extreme. And for a pastor to come out and share that journey, you know, people, you know, there were some people that might have, you know, oh ye of little faith, you know? And my thing is, man, like, you know, I started reading my, you know, my Bible, not because I was depressed. You know, I started asking God, like, man, like I'm feeling this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? You know, and like, why? Like all I'm doing is helping people. You know what I mean? And I'm just being for real. Like, I'm like, I just want to help people. You know, I don't have any like hidden agenda. You know what I mean? I'm not out here. I was making 6 figures when I was living in the Bay Area. And when we started the ministry in Las Vegas in 2010, I left 6 figures to take a salary over here of how much? 0. And so, you know what I mean? So you can't tell me I'm out here for the money.
Right, right.
And so like, and so for me, I'm like, okay, Lord, like I'm doing these things. What happened? And man, he started taking me down a journey, you know, and started to make me realize like I lost my identity. Like I just became the pastor, period. You know what I mean? And I got caught up in what I've done. You know what I mean? And the position I held. And so I was like, I'm the pastor, and that would be it. And I have pastor problems, and I deal with people. And the craziest thing that I found out about leadership is this is how you know you're a true leader to me. One of the key, attributes to know you're a true leader is you know how to encourage somebody in their storm, right? Until you yourself get into that same storm,
right?
And then you have to eat the same thing you were feeding them,
right?
You know what I mean? Because when people go through with their marriage, I'm like, listen, man, you're gonna be all right. Love her, show her that she's wanted. When you're facing some marriage problems, you're like, man, I want out.
Right.
I don't need for you to be talking to me about encourage her. Hell no. You know what I mean? And it's like, and so I started catching myself losing my identity. Right. And then God was just speaking to me about me, and I was waiting to hear, and I don't know if you guys can really understand that about like a pastor's heart, is I was hearing for the ministry because that's where my heart was. Like, God, what are you telling me for the people? And he wasn't talking to me about for people anymore. He was talking to me for me, and I needed that. And I realized I was going at such a pace, trying to please everybody and trying to do all these things. And I realized the anxiety was all an amount of me not pretty much transitioning into this next place that God is taking me. And then not trusting him, and I don't want to sound like that's the case for everybody, but for me, that was what it was. And man, I got sour towards like serving. Like I got sour. Like things were just like, man, I'm cool. Like, hey, we're gonna do something at the church for blah blah blah. I was like, well, tell me how it goes. I'm good.
Wow.
And it got to the point where she was like, Lucky,
you okay?
Like that. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'm not. And are you upset? I'm like, no. I'm just saying, like, I don't want to be over there, you know? And my wife just got really, really like concerned because she's like, that's not my husband. And then it started to spill over to the ministry. And for me, I think one of the dangers of being a pastor is when you're hurt and you're still trying to minister.
Give the word, Man,
it's dangerous because you're gonna bleed all over the church.
Oh yeah, that's good. One of the Lisa Tatolo Joaquim said, it's an all too common journey we don't share, untaboo mental health. So it's good that you share because, and especially being a pastor, for you keep talking about it, it'll help you heal, but you don't know there's somebody out there that's listening that's like going through the same thing you're going through and going, okay, pastor has gone through it. So
like trip off this real quick. On your Instagram, right? Like, do you guys have personal Instagrams or you guys just use Poly by Design?
I have a personal Instagram.
Okay. IG. So on your IG, Naki, you don't just take any old picture and then post it. You know what I mean? You're gonna look at it, right? If it's pleasing or if it's up to your standard, then you're gonna post it, right?
Right.
So think about the Bible, all right? The Bible is basically Jesus's Instagram. That they didn't record one morning the dogs were barking. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was late and my stomach felt kind of upset because I ate some bread or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They didn't post that. So everything that made it to the Bible was what God chose to put in his Instagram. I mean, in his Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so in the Bible, it says that Jesus went to the garden and he was sweating bullets of blood. And he told his father, he said, why have you forsaken me? Right. You know what I mean? that sounds like anxiety. You know what I'm saying? And so when you start reading it and you're like, wait, so Jesus, because people, oh, hey, you don't talk about Jesus like that. He don't have anxiety, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Jesus had anxiety. I'm saying that was a symptom.
Yeah.
So what he was showing you was that it's okay if you're going through that, but you can get out of it.
Right.
And I had to see it that way. I was like, man, so God was highlighting stuff. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Joyce Meyer.
Yeah.
And Joyce Meyer, you know, I don't follow her page. Well, I do now.
Yeah.
I don't follow her page. I don't, you know, I just don't. It's not that I dislike her. She's not one of the people I follow.
Yeah.
And I threw my iPad when I was high anxiety. I'm talking about high. I threw my iPad on the bed, like let me gather my thoughts, man. I feel like my heart's about to, you know, burst, you know. And I threw my iPad on the bed, and boom, she comes on, and a verse of scriptures on her Instagram talking about, you know, for those of you having anxiety, God's saying to you that do not fret, don't have any worry about anything, you know, by prayer and supplication. And man, it tripped me out. I was like, first off, I don't subscribe to you. Second of all, how did first jump out like that? Yeah. And so I kind of was like, wow. But as I was sharing it, I didn't realize that God was telling me to take a break.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take a break, like take a break.
Right.
They call the day that you worship God Sabbath day.
Right.
Religion has made Sabbath day, right, Sunday or Saturday for some religions.
Yeah.
Sabbath was never meant to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was never.
Yeah.
Sabbath was intended to be a day that you set apart and get your mind off everything. You know, It was supposed to be a day that, you know, like right now, a pastor friend told me, I went and visited with him, and he told me, he said, Pastor Laki, how serious are you about your mental health? And I said, man, I'm very serious. He said, let me see your phone. And I gave him my phone. He said, open up your calendars. And I opened up the calendars, and I had all kind of events, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, you're not serious about your mental health.
Yeah.
And I said, how was that? He said, if you are serious about your mental health, you'll have days blocked off where nothing can reach you. You'll have a.
And do you do that now?
I do that now.
Yeah.
Like Fridays, like tomorrow, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'll be in my garage. You know what I mean? I'll be in my ATV. Like, I'm gonna just do what I feel is right. I'm gonna talk to my kid. And sometimes those mental health days, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna spend time with my family. They're not even for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spend time with my
kids.
Not even for that. You know, because we're so conditioned to serve everybody else, we're running dry.
It's true.
And the enemy, you know, the enemy makes us feel so bad about caring about us.
No.
You know what I mean? Like when you want a day off, oh, look at you trying to have a day off. Yeah.
I'm selfish.
Right? Yeah. And they're trying to make us seem like, you know, we're all caught up into ourselves. But how serious are you about your mental health? Like, and you need to take that and say, you know what? I am going to set aside some time. And it's hard for the busybodies like myself, like you guys, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to just say, hey, 6 hours today. I'm not going to check a text. You know what I mean? I'm not going to return an email. You know, like I'm not going to call nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, I'm just going to go and enjoy my tea or go on a walk or just check out. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, man, you need that. You know,
everybody needs that.
Man, we had Dr. Caroline Leaf at our church.
Oh, yeah.
And man, she's awesome. And she says that every day, you know, you should take 16 minutes a day to just daydream, right? Daydream. And, you know, sometimes in our culture, and I'm not talking about our culture, it daydream. So, you know, like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, like, let me just go daydream. Let me daydream that the Niners asked for me to be their pastor or chaplain, or,
there you go.
Or like, man,
speak it into the universe.
Yeah, my mom, you know what I'm saying? I'll take my mom to Samoa, you know what I'm saying? And go for 2 weeks, and, you know, just daydream. Don't look at Orbitz or Yahoo or Expedia or whatever you go to get your, you know, stuff. Man, just daydream. Take 16 minutes, because your brain really does believe what you think is happening.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so now you start seeing difference in your body. You start seeing difference in your mind. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it's such a tap. I don't know. I want to use that. Yeah, for us Polynesian people, we're just too serious sometimes. You know what I mean?
Like, sometimes we're too serious. We are the funniest people, but we're a lot serious. We have a ane haunga utu. Amen, Pastor Dad. Take care of your mental health. Mm-hmm. And PIs, that's like, it really is a taboo topic. We don't talk about that. So I'm glad that you talked about it. And I appreciate you, Pastor. Yeah. It's just crazy of all this stuff. And I appreciate the topics that you bring up. Mental health is huge so that people know it's normal the way that it's not normal, but I'm not the only one going through it. So let me get some help. Let me talk to somebody. So I love that.
I found out like say for instance, like, if you ever had like a tingling in your arm, right? Like, you know, your wrist, and then you're moving your hand like that. And then you go, hey, you know, have you ever had a tingling in your hand? And then everybody in the room goes, no. You know what I mean? And they say, have you ever had a tingling? Like, you know, if you lean, you know, on your wrist for like 2 minutes, have you ever had a tingling? And then people go, no. You know, you start to believe, damn, am I the only one going through something like that?
Right.
You know? And I'm not wishing it on anybody else, but if you go, you ever had a tingling? And they go, oh, did you lean on your hand for 2 minutes?
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah. Oh, yeah, bro, it'll go away. Just keep moving it.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like when you talk about mental health, it can be translated as a weakness or it can be an empowerment. Right. You know what I mean? Like, because you're seeing people like myself who was able to overcome it. You know, man, thank you, Jesus. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I came out of there, you know, I didn't come out too bad. You know? I didn't come out too bad, but it's all good. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it was hard to put a smile on, you know, and you know, and I don't want to act like my situation, because I know people got it worse. In the same note, I'm gonna tell you about me. It's like in those situations, I mean, pastors have like a lose-lose connected to them. What I mean by lose-lose is, you know, your church is big, you know what I'm saying? Oh man, they're crooks. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then your church is small, they're not called. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, you know, I got Jordans, you know what I mean? I got a lot of Jordans. And somebody was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Must be nice. I was like, yeah, you know, they're at the Foot Locker. You know what I mean? Like, this wasn't
go get you some.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't using your tithe to go buy no dang Jordans. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just assume that, and that's the thing. I was at Walmart a while ago, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, Pastor!" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "You come to Walmart?" You know? And I was like, man, I keep looking for the pastor's only Walmart. I can't find it. Do you know? I'm like, but you know, and it's funny when we talk about it, but that's the real perception.
Yeah.
You know, they think us pastors are at church 24/7. Like right now, so many people think I'm at home going like this. You know, like I don't have a life. I don't eat. I don't have a family. I'm just, oh God, Father God. You know what I mean? Girl, I'm not praying for you all day. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
like, pray for yourself. Like, so that's the perception. And a lot of the anxiety was because I try to live up to that measure.
Yeah.
You know, hey, Pastor, can we get a meeting? Yes. You know, 3 a.m. I'm having a fight with, you know, my husband or my wife. I'm coming. You know, my kids they're not listening. We're gonna be there. You know. Yeah. Oh my God, it was burning me out.
You're cracking. Randy Honch Tilly is laughing.
Yeah, that's my brother right there, Randy, man. Yeah, and it's like, man, come on. So it was burning me out, and I thank God, and I mentioned all this from what you said about the time to rest. So God had given me that 2 months, and then He placed me on this you know, like the world on COVID rest. You know what I mean? And I'm like, now I'm looking back, and I'm like, man, people really need to receive this rest time, because man, it's like, take advantage of it, get to know your kids. Our kids growing up. I mean, I have a 22-year-old daughter. I don't think I realized that until COVID. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, man, I got a 22-year-old girl, you know what I mean? 2 kids out of high school. I'm like, I'm too young for this.
You are, Pastor. You are.
I started at 14. Don't do it, kids. Don't do that. But I'm just like, man, it's like crazy. But you know, you look back, and sometimes you just gotta say la. And look at the kids and look at your family and just
Yeah.
be appreciative during this downtime, man.
Grateful. Well, Pastor, we're not going to take up the rest of your evening. We're just so grateful to have this time with you. We're thankful and we're so blessed that you shared space with us and given us the words that we needed to hear.
Always enjoy the ride. I knew he's going to take us on a ride tonight.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
So, Pastor, when you're in the city and this is all done, we're going to get you in the studio.
Come on. Hey, even if you guys don't have a slot, I'm gonna slide myself in there that day.
Yes, what's going on? You just come on in.
Come on, I'm looking forward to it, man. I appreciate this. This was an honor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening and God bless you and thank you. Love to the family. Love you.
Love you too.
Awesome. We're gonna. Wow. Just wow. We're gonna. End the live? No. We're just gonna thank Pastor. Did you end it?
No.
We just thank Pastor Laki and all of you for tuning in. George, again, congratulations. JP Sela, thank you. Lisa Tautolo Joaquin, thank you for participating.
Oh, I forgot. I was going to, his son is going to thank him later. The one that was born on their anniversary, because now he'll never forget his parents' anniversary.
Oh, totally. Aline Malai. Yes, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We're going to ask you if you can share this so people can hear Pastor's word this evening and just everything about the pastor and what he's been doing and how he got here. So go ahead and share our podcast. Tune in Sunday. We'll be back on Sunday. Carl and I, we will see you Sunday. Have a good rest of the week, and we'll chat with you soon.
See you Sunday.